we want to talk about today the idea of this wonderful piece of artwork, which was commissioned by the synagogue with Betti, Pettinati-Longinotti. Betti, you are kind of our resident artist, we could say, based on the amount of artwork of yours that we have at the temple. And this new piece is done in loving memory of Gail Citron, whom you knew and that we all worked with in creating a lot of the artwork and some of what's here in this space, but this was done specifically in memory of Gail. Can you talk a little bit about, like, how did this come together? And I'll answer too.
Well, I got I think an email from Deb. I guess you all had talked as a committee already, and you asked if I'd be interested in creating a mural for the space at the entrance of the temple. Deb had said she had noticed I was doing a lot more painting than glass work these days, and that is true. And so I've always been a painter. I was a painter before I started doing glass works. So at any rate, I came and visited with you and the committee, and I guess I thought that I was going to be considered, and as it turned out, I did get the commission. So at any rate, that's how it started.
Mm-hmm.
And you all had a theme that you had already talked about, which it was about hands. I was supposed to come, I think it was it March 13th?
You're right, it was.
The last.
It wound up being the last Friday that we wound up being together. I think it was going to be the following one, or maybe it was that one. We were going to be together with you.
Right.
And we were nervous about too many people and touching or whatever, and I remember we said we were going to have to postpone it. That's
Right.
exactly right. Yeah.
Right, exactly. The process changed because I was going to come and take a lot of photographs, but I got hundreds of photographs. And I think I had 100 photographs alone of the making of Hala, which was wonderful. It was wonderful to look through all the photographs. And then I selected more than I needed to get printed so I could look at them again and then, seeing what panels that, they would shift into. The large hand, I anticipated some mother's hand with a baby's hand on top, and it just spoke to me, and I just thought that that would be a wonderful focal point for part of the mural.
It's wonderful, and it ties in the Hebrew that's at the end, which is Lador Vador, from generation to generation, which was one of Gail's favorite expressions, and she very much appreciated. And not just as an expression, but something to really live and hold on to. And we did 5 panels. It is all one mural, but it's 5 individual panels, which we did in part to think about the 5 books of Torah, but also the 5 generations where Gail sits in her family in terms of Temple Emmanuel, that her grandparents were among the founders, the founding generation of that, parents obviously involved, her life at the temple, her children and her grandchildren working there, becoming B'nai Mitzvah on our Bima. And so that idea of 5 generations, that she was right in the center of that as well. The Hebrew that flows through it comes from the book of Deuteronomy, towards the very end, and where these blessings are said about what the Israelites can expect if they wind up doing the commandments, and from generation to generation holding on to it. And we have this line, Baruch atah b'vo'echa u'baruch atah b'tzeitecha. Blessed are you when you're coming in, and blessed are you when you're going out. And when we were talking about where we would put a piece of art, and we talked about the sanctuary, we spoke about the social hall, we talked about art here and different things, and we settled on this wall, which of course is at once, as any entrance is, it's also an exit, and the other way around. And we very much touch one another from one generation to the next. Who is here, who's on the in and the out, but we hope for blessing coming and going, and that's literally scrolling through on a Torah scroll in the middle of the artwork as a whole. There's a little piece of the wall that you left unfinished, left the mural unfinished.
Right.
This is a thing that a lot of folks might not realize, that even before we put up the mural, there was an unfinished piece of wall there. It's based on a rabbinic concept of when we're building a building, we have a building, a home, that we leave a corner unfinished for a couple of reasons. One, we're remembering the destruction of the Second Temple, and we're mourning that. And we also recognize that the world is not yet complete. We are partners with one another and with God in completing it. The last commandment we get in the Torah, the 613th commandment, is that everyone should write themselves their own Torah. And actually, it says that you should write this song. It's in chapter 31 of Deuteronomy. The fact that it's called a song is where we get the idea that this is what we chant, we sing the words, but also that every Jew is responsible for writing a Torah. And when we write, we embody and then, please God, do those commandments and all that's inside of it. So the fact that that's empty towards the end there, and that we're in process, you've literally helped us to write another part of our story and our communal Torah.
I think probably my concept that you didn't talk about in the beginning in the committee was I needed to find a background for it.
Mm.
And I thought it would be appropriate to put it at sunset since we had the Shabbat.
You did that perfectly. I mean, that was, when I was looking at, and here we've got, people literally blessing the Shabbos candles, which we would do as the sun is going down. And of course, the way the mural is situated on the wall, that's where the sun goes down. And that is west. Deb, one of the things we talked about, obviously books are central in Jewish life, and we've got books on this mural. And the Lador Vador quote is over a book, which could be a Siddur. From a distance, we could say that the Lador Vador, from generation to generation, it certainly comes from the Siddur. But those are significant words. What are those words?
That is the Diary of Anne Frank, and the book is open to the page. It's towards the end of the diary, where she writes, "In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. I simply can't build up my hopes on a foundation consisting of confusion, misery, and death. I see the world gradually being turned into a wilderness. I hear the ever-approaching thunder which will destroy us too. I can feel the sufferings of millions, and yet, if I look up into the heavens, I think that it will all come right, that this cruelty too will end, and that peace and tranquility will return again."
What a wonderful tribute to Gail in memory of her, and of all those who contribute to help make this happen, with inspiration for where we can go and what we believe is possible. So thank you. Thank you for gracing our community again with a piece of beauty and inspiration. One of the nicknames of Winston-Salem is the City of the Arts, and we pride ourselves at the temple that we help to contribute to that. And you are one of the artists who very much is living into that. So thank you. Yishar koach, we say, go on in strength. We appreciate your strength and your gifts. Deb, to the committee that has helped put this together, thank you so very much. It's Deb Britton and Lynn Eisenberg and Diane Leshin. And I'm forgetting somebody.
You.
And me. I just show up.
No, and everyone in the congregation.
And in our congregation. And the people who sent in the pictures.
Oh my God.
Hundreds of pictures. I love that.